Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be looking at Chainlink, its valuations against Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as the US dollar. Remember, if you do like this video and the other videos that I make on this channel, be sure to hit the like button down below and also consider subscribing. So, starting off with Bitcoin. Chainlink's valuation with Bitcoin has been consolidating or winding in price for quite some time. In fact, for the beginning of the year, um, or ever since last year, essentially. Um, and and we've been experiencing a downward line of resistance, which you can see here, 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 and here. So in addition to that, we've have been experiencing relative higher lows, technical higher lows, right? From here to here, here, and then here. So I Chainlink has been quite frustrating, and obviously people who comment at least share the same sentiment, and you can see it on Reddit. A lot of people have been commenting about how poorly it has done. I would like to remind you all where we've come from for Chainlink. Uh, and yes, I understand that the FUD that comes around with it. I am still bullish on Chainlink. I still continue to hold this asset, and these are my reasons why. So, um, with the Bitcoin chart, we're in a triangle essentially, not a symmetrical triangle, but a triangle nonetheless, which we would see a breakout. Technically speaking, if we were following this structure, if this structure follows through, we should be seeing a breakout. Within the quarter, within quarter one, essentially. We are up 4.5% for this week. Chainlink is up about 1.85% against Bitcoin right now. So obviously nice to have, but the last 2 weeks weren't so kind to Chainlink. The week of November 15th, we were down 4%, and then just last week we were down a good chunk of 12.5%. Regardless of that, we are seeing a coiling in price, and we should see a breakout in the not so distant future, right? We could see it come up, get rejected, come up, bounce, and then see a breakout to the upside or to the downside. If it's to the downside, well, we don't have much, support levels left. You can interpret this line here. You can always interpret these like little bounces that Chainlink has as potential lines of support. And so we could see something here at 33,000 satoshis. You could see one here at about 23,000, 24,000 satoshis. So these are lines to take note of should we break to the downside. Against Ethereum, it looks even worse, right? We're getting rejected off the 20-week moving average, not the 21-week EMA, sorry, the 20-week moving average, as you can see here, here, and here, and we've capitulated even further down. Now we're not even at a support level yet that I deem worthy to mention. The furthest one is 0.003903 Ethereum. So Chainlink against Ethereum has done very poorly. It has bled against Ethereum by about 87%. 87%. So this is something to take into consideration. And I'm just getting the bad news out first, and then I will then interject with I guess some hopium. I guess you could say. When we look at the U.S. dollar, it's currently trading at $26.50 roughly. We broke the 20-week moving average, and we're right now rallying to it. So this would be an interesting moment. Are we able to break through? In which case, I would say that this is just a bounce off the 20-week moving average. If not, then we're essentially getting rejected off the 20-week moving average, and further downside is likely. With that said, we can then interpret the last low as another line of support at $15. We haven't been there since July essentially, but at $15, Chainlink is a pretty good deal. So this is something that I'm currently looking at. This is probably the more interesting chart out of all of them. If we're seeing Chainlink able to break back above the 20-week moving average or not. As you've noticed, each of the major pairings, the 20-week moving average has been pivotal for the success or demise of Chainlink. Even with Ethereum, it tends to hold the 20-week moving average, and if it does, we get to see some pretty nice moves. Same thing with Bitcoin. it kind of holds on to the 20-week moving average. As long as it bounces off of it, we see some pretty good returns. And the same thing with the US dollar to some degree, right? It can dip below it, but we have seen instances like in the span of the fall of 2020 where we ride the 20-week moving average and then rallied up. And this is when we rallied up to $52. So we talked about Bitcoin structure, the Chainlink Bitcoin structure. Let's talk about Ethereum right now. Um, yes, Ethereum doesn't necessarily have a line of support on price, but we are at the bottom of the RSI, and we have been at the bottom of the RSI for quite some time. It's in the realm of oversold territory. We haven't been at these levels. If we negate this year, essentially, we haven't been at these levels since 2018. Okay, we've never been at these levels since 2018. So with that said, it seems like a pretty good area for Chainlink to bounce, at least to get a relief rally. And if we do get a relief rally, it then brings into the possibility, within the realm of possibility, of Chainlink breaking through the 20-week moving average against Ethereum. And this is kind of what I'm banking on. I am soon to accumulate more Chainlink. If it drops below 30 on the RSI against Ethereum, but this is kind of just my metric right now of looking how oversold Chainlink is against Ethereum. I think, in my mind at least, these are prices that are pretty good in my eyes. For you, it might be different. For you, an 80, like an 89, 87, 88% drop from the top against Ethereum might be too much to handle. But at the same time, when we see these drops, to me, this is an indication to buy, especially for a strong asset like Chainlink, anything within the top 20. Well, maybe not everything, but for the assets that I follow, if I see an 88% drop, I would like to buy. It's the same kind of idea when you think about Bitcoin. When Bitcoin dropped 50%, it was a great buying opportunity, a fantastic buying opportunity. And even if it take to 2017 and the macro dropped down, it dropped 80%. Do you think now, when you look at in hindsight, it was a bad asset to hold? In fact, it was the best time to accumulate your Bitcoin. It was when the Bitcoin dominant when Bitcoin's at the bottom of the RSI at 30.44 in the month of December was the best time to buy. It was the most optimal time to buy within this cycle. And so I would make the same argument for Chainlink. Chainlink right now against Ethereum is at pretty oversold territory. It has bled 88% against Ethereum. We're going into Q1 where essentially altcoins do fairly well, and I'm willing to bet that Chainlink will get some decent exposure to that rally. When we look at the US dollar, and we don't necessarily take into effect the 20-week moving average, what do you see? It's actually a little easier if you flip it to the monthly. We've just been moving sideways. We've been moving sideways since August for essentially, right? You can see volatility is dropping, right? We've essentially just been moving sideways. And Chainlink, despite moving, in a 45-degree angle for the macro hit, for the entire chart life, it has these bouts of sideways movement. You can see it here. You could see it here, right? If you get rid of the pumps and just look at these areas, Chainlink just moves sideways. It was the same $3.27 move since March of 2020 to as far back as June of 2019. So you can see that Chainlink can move sideways. And in fact, this move here was probably the most sideways it's been for the longest period of time, right? So with that said, volatility is dropping with Chainlink. I think right now, if anything, is time to look at your positions for Chainlink and see where we are. For me, I put my money where my mouth is, and I'm willing to bet that Chainlink is going to do well. And because of that, it's the third largest position in my portfolio. In fact, I think it's now fourth because I've been buying a lot of Uniswap. But um, uh, for the time being, the market value is, roughly third or fourth place in my portfolio. You don't have to have the same thing, but what I'm trying to get at is you have to look at these drops as an opportunity. And if you're scared, that's fine. That's just your risk tolerance, right? Your risk tolerance isn't the same or same as everybody's, and so you will have to adjust your portfolio accordingly. But I will say that when you have assets like Chainlink at an 88% discount against Ethereum, I think it becomes a very good buying opportunity, to buy it at the least amount of risk, because that's the way I interpret it. The lower the price, the lower the risk. The lower the RSI is, the lower the risk, essentially. And so with that said, um, I'm keeping the bet with Chainlink, and I'm letting it ride. Whether we're looking at the Bitcoin chart, the Ethereum chart, the US dollar chart, to me it seems pretty clear. Chainlink will have a pretty good move for the next year. Anyway, that's all for today, you guys. Thank you all for watching. Take care. Bye bye.